Montserrat is a lush and tranquil Caribbean retreat. But in 1995, the Soufriere Hills volcano, quiet for nearly 400 years, rumbles back to life. Over the next 2 years, multiple eruptions shoot ash thousands of feet into the air. The capital of Plymouth is evacuated twice. Each time, the residents return, hoping the volcano's rage is over. On June 25th, 1997, those hopes are buried. At 1 p.m., a giant ash cloud erupts nearly 10 kilometers high. In the next 30 minutes, close to 800-degree mixtures of ash and rock race downhill at more than 100 kilometers an hour. The lethal clouds are called pyroclastic flows. Roy Daly lives 3 kilometers from the volcano. He hears the eruption and rushes outside to see the flow racing by him, less than 50 meters away.
Started to feel some heat, and the darkness started to roll over the road. So I got in my car and I sped away like crazy. I drove on top the hill, away from the pyroclastic flow.
The force of the thick mixture of gas, ash and rocks flattens everything in its path. Roy watches helplessly as entire villages are destroyed. He's managed to escape the pyroclastic flows, but he's not out of danger yet.
I was scared to death. I thought I wasn't gonna live. It was so dark that if you put your hands to your face, you couldn't see them. Hot ash raining down on you, real hot ash. I felt scared. I couldn't move, I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe properly. So, of course, I felt I was gonna die. But I was hoping I didn't die, and I didn't.
Roy is finally evacuated by helicopter, but not everyone is able to escape. Dr. Sue Laughlin is the director of the Montserrat Volcano Observatory and a witness to the eruption.
The maximum speed of pyroclastic flows on that day could have been in excess of 150 miles per hour. Even though people saw it coming, there was very little they could do to make their escape.
The nearly 8 million cubic meters of flow covers thousands of square kilometers of land, damages or demolishes more than 100 homes, and destroys the island's only airport. Other than one ferry service, Montserrat is cut off from the rest of the world. But the volcano is not finished. Over the next 4 months, eruptions and pyroclastic flows continue to devastate the island.
We had over 70 explosions in 1 month. Sometimes there were 4 explosions a day. Each explosion generated a mushroom cloud which rose rapidly to great heights above the volcano. Each explosion generated pyroclastic flows which spread in all directions around the volcano. You can see behind me the impact on Gage's Mountain of surges as they came over the mountain during one of these explosions and singed and burned all the vegetation there.
The pyroclastic flow's toll on the island's natural resources is immense. The human toll is 19 lives. The cause of this violent and tragic eruption lies deep below the lush island. The same process that created this tropical paradise threatens to destroy it. Here, the North and South American tectonic plates collide with and plunge below the Caribbean plate in a process called subduction.
The subduction takes place at about 130 kilometers depth. That's about 80 miles below the surface of the Earth. As the plate goes down, parts of it melt, and this forms magma. And the magma works its way up to the surface over many thousands of years.
Unlike Kilauea, the Soufriere Hills volcano produces thick magma. Over thousands of years, it forms the classic steep volcanic cone called a stratovolcano. The magma contains a variety of gases, all under intense pressure. It slowly rises until it reaches the Earth's surface when the pressure is released. Just like a bottle of champagne, the gases suddenly expand and the volcano violently erupts. Thousands of kilometers away in Bari, Italy, scientists are studying Soufriere Hill's most lethal side effect.
The purpose of these experiments is to understand the dynamics of pyroclastic flows, so to be prepared for the next events.
Dr. Dolino and his team load about 200 kilos of actual volcanic ash from Mount Vesuvius into a cylinder. Pressurized gas creates an explosion that ejects the ash. The volcanologists track the height, direction, and density of the ash with a variety of instruments and high-speed cameras. The models here are big enough to be accurately scaled up to actual events, something that could not be achieved in a lab. The experiments have determined that both the amount of magma and the force applied to it are critical in the creation of pyroclastic flows. Next, researchers will match the test with the topography of specific volcanoes. They'll then be able to pinpoint specific areas where pyroclastic flows are likely to strike. Local authorities can evacuate those areas prior to an eruption, potentially saving many lives. But tragically, for those in the path of stratovolcanoes like Soufriere Hills, pyroclastic flows and ashfall aren't the only threats. Every year, between 1,200 and 2,000 millimeters of rain fall on Montserrat. Heavy rains run down the channels created by the pyroclastic flows, transforming them into massive mudslides called lahars.
Most of this debris that we see around us is caused by lahars, washing all the pyroclastic flow debris further down the hill and progressively burying Plymouth under all this mud and boulders.
Lahars have buried so much of Plymouth that the city has been permanently abandoned. They were the volcano's final salvo in a brutal one-sided war. The Soufriere Hills volcano destroyed more than 1,000 homes, left more than half of the island uninhabitable, and destroyed the nation's capital. About 4,500 people remain on the once thriving island of 12,000.
It was sad to see people just having to go by droves out of Montserrat. But it was understandable because these people had lost their properties. It was a pure strength why I stayed here. I mean, you had no place to go, no place to live, with families and friends being shacked up still in schools and churches. It was difficult and it was very sad.
But the volcano has also created new opportunities that have helped revitalize the island. Volcano-related tourism is rising. Roy Daly owns and operates a tour bus business.
People are anxious to see a live volcano. I don't think there's any place on the face of the earth that you could see a live volcano from approximately 1 mile from it bubbling and rolling and rocking, right?
Though Soufriere Hills' multiple pyroclastic flows and lahars were lethal and destructive, its eruptions never exceeded a 3 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index. But when a VEI-5 fires a single 24 megaton blast, it destroys thousands of acres of land and kills dozens of people. And later, scientists explore the potential for a super eruption, one unseen in modern times, one that could kill millions. The pyroclastic flows and lahars of the Soufriere Hills volcano on Montserrat destroyed the island's capital, killed 19, and changed the nation's landscape and thousands of lives forever. In 1980, America's Pacific Northwest experienced a different and rare type of eruption that acted like a giant cannon blast, flattening entire forests and killing dozens.